Welcome to the first day of the 2019 National Novel Writing Month. Today, I'm probably going to be talking a little bit about some of the work that I'm going to be doing this month, but my main goal is to try to give you a little bit of motivation to get through your National Novel Writing Month challenge. 50,000 words in 50 days. Hopefully you've already gotten started, but if not, let's go, and let's talk about it on today's Project Shadow.
Can you hear me? I have something to say. Project Shadow starts now.
Hello everyone, how are you doing today? My name's Charlie. You might know me better as sci-fi fantasy writer C.E. Dorset, especially if you're reading my new book, Crucify My Love. Yeah, it's National Novel Writing Month. The work is going on. Probably while you're listening to this, I'm feverishly typing. Because, yeah, I'm doing it this month. And I know a lot of you probably are too, so let's talk about that today. But before we get into it, if you haven't already, please take a moment to rate this podcast in whatever app you're listening to me on. It really does help out a lot. It tells the algorithm to share the podcast with more people. The more people that listen, the bigger the community. The bigger the community, the better the chance we get to talk to each other in real life. And after all, that's why I do this in the first place. Thank you to everybody who has already done that. All right, so it's National Novel Writing Month 2019. And I want to be more excited than I am. I really do. But I've done these so many times before. I know what a crazy time I'm in for. And if this is your first National Novel Writing Month, you need to be ready for the insanity that is to follow. So let's begin by talking about the stages of National Novel Writing Month. The first couple days to week of the writing process, there's one of two things that will happen, sometimes both alternating back and forth. The first is pure elation. I'm writing, other people are writing, this is awesome, this is great, this is what we're going to do, we're going to get there, this is going to be awesome. And why did I pick this project? This is the wrong thing, I shouldn't have been doing this, why? Oh man, I'm never going to hit 50,000 words, there's so many words ahead of me. How am I going to get there? How am I going to get there? These two states, at least in myself, generally alternate back and forth throughout the first couple weeks of Nano. Mainly in the first week. Because this is the voice of resistance. If you're not familiar with the voice of resistance, I've done several episodes on this. So go back into the archives and check them out because they are there to stop you. See, for me at least, writing for Nano shouldn't be that big of a deal. Technically speaking, all you have to do is write about 1,668 words a day, and you'll hit your 50,000 words by the end of the month. I try to set my goal at 2,400 words a day, because then that allows me to take some days off, because I know for a fact I'm going to be taking some days off. My birthday is this month, and yeah, I'm probably not going to be working on my birthday, even if I want to, because people will birthday things. Yeah. So, I know I'm at least going to be taking that day off. I need to take a couple days off, just so I don't get completely and totally burnt out. And 2,400 words a day is a good goal to try to orient yourself on, so that you have the ability to kind of take off weekends, though I try to work through those as well. I try to do as much writing as I can, as quickly as I can, because I know what will happen in the next phase. So hopefully if you've gotten your goals set, you know what project you're working on. More than likely, I know what project I'm working on. I have actually changed projects a couple days into Nano before. So hopefully that doesn't happen to me this year. So yeah, hopefully I stay on track. But be warned, if that does happen, you can still win. It just makes things a bit harder. So I would do my best not to give in to that voice that says you should be working on a different project than the one that you chose, and just hammer it down, get it done, get to the end. You know that you can do it. Phase 2 is the hardest phase. Phase 2 is when you're like, okay, I've gotten some done. I'm a little bit behind my goal. Because let's be honest, at least for me, early on in the process, I get behind. I set a fairly high word count a day for myself. 2,400 words is not an easy stretch for me to hit. And so usually somewhere between week 2 and week 3, I find myself in the nightmare phase of needing to write more and more and more just to keep up, just to get caught up with the pace, because something will happen. Something happens every year. I catch a cold. I have some kind of a weird sinus thing. There's intermittent power outages. Something happens every year that slows me down and keeps me from getting exactly where I want to be. And that's when we enter the full-blown Phase 2 panic. I have announced publicly that I'm going to be doing this project, that I'm going to be writing 50,000 words in 30 days, which may or may not be the full book. And now, here I am, I'm behind. I'm not going to make it, I'm not going to make it, I'm not going to make it. The anxiety takes over. Everything makes you feel lost and betrayed. But this is where a technique that I learned from David Gerald really comes in. In his book, Worlds of Wonder, David Gerald recommended that we try to keep our scenes to 800 words. By doing that, we keep the pace of our novel fairly good. Now, this is, like all writing rules, subject to change. You could have a shorter scene, you could have a larger scene. But trying to keep that limit at 800 words really does help keep the pace and the flow of the books that you're doing going. And because I like to put my books up for people to read, that means each chapter is 2 scenes, so 1,600 words. So I need to write a chapter and a half a day if I'm going to make it to the end of Nano and get the books done. But let's be honest, I'm not going to get the book done, because I always pad how many words I need to write. Because if I just plotted out a 50,000 word story, that story's going to come in short. So I generally plot out, or at least have the ambition to write a minimum of 6,500 words. I like writing short books. I really do. And so that's generally the target that I aim for, which means I'm going to be writing into December to get the book finished. There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly okay. But during Phase 2, when you start panicking and you realize I'm not going to hit my goal because every fiber, at least of my own being, tells me that I'm not going to hit my goal, I'm not going to get where I wanted to go, it is even harder, because I know that even as I'm starting to get tired, as the burnout is trying to creep in, the book will not be finished, even if I hit my goal. So what's the point of hitting the goal? The goal is just an arbitrary number. It's a number that I set. I don't really have to hit it, do I? I mean, it's just a target that I set against myself, and I'm really only letting myself down if I don't hit it, and I'm used to letting myself down. That sounds like a good excuse, doesn't it? Sounds like a good excuse to me. And so this is where Phase 3 kicks in. The negotiating. Oh man, you got a lot written yesterday, and I really don't feel like writing today. Maybe if I just took today off, tomorrow I can come at it fresh and really hit a bunch of words. I can hit my word count a lot easier tomorrow. Yeah, that's the ticket. That's the thing. I'll just be calm. I'll let myself have a day off. I'll play a game today, rest, recuperate, and tomorrow I'll hit it hard. Negotiation is the enemy of success. Because, let's be honest, if we let ourselves have today off, and it's not one of our scheduled days off that we've worked really, really hard to keep our word count up so that we could actually have, that we could earn as a reward, then what we're doing is making ourselves further behind so we can feed the stress, so we can justify taking more days off to alleviate that stress. No, we have to be careful. We have to be strong. We have to stand up to the voice of negotiation. that rises up within us and tells us, no, don't do that. Don't do that. You'll get there, but maybe today should just be a game and music day. Rest, recuperate. You'll get there tomorrow. I promise, you'll get there tomorrow. I need to rest today. No, that's not how that works. That's resistance. That's procrastination stepping up its ugly face and telling us to keep away from our goals, to keep away from our dreams. Remember, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times on this podcast. The hardest thing to do is to finish a story. Not to start it, not to come up with the idea, but to get to the end, to finish it. And that negotiator, it sounds like wisdom. It sounds like a good idea because we've been working so hard. Surely we can take just a little bit of time off. But that time off, that is the enemy. That is what will keep us from actually hitting our goals. Now the next phase begins. The most insidious. People have started announcing that they've won. People have started posting their own celebrations because they were able to hunker down. They were able to write harder than us. They were able to write faster than us. Maybe that means that they were able to write better than us. Oh no, people are getting done and I'm nowhere near hitting my goal yet. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Maybe this was wrong. Maybe this wasn't the thing that I should be doing. No, that's just resistance again. They finished early because maybe they're one of those blessed writers who can write 5,000 to 10,000 words a day. They exist. I've had those days myself. They're rare. They're few and far between, but they are glorious when they happen. And we have to be careful not to get distracted by the work or the pace of others. Everybody will work at their own pace. Everybody will finish at their own pace. So just because some people have gotten there and we haven't, doesn't mean that we're lesser. It doesn't mean that we have messed up, that we chose wrong, or that we won't get there ourselves. But it's very easy for us to start thinking that, isn't it? So beware the voice that tells you that just because other people have started hitting their word counts, that means that you will never hit yours. That's a lie. You will get there. You will tell the story that you need to tell in the time that it takes for you to write it. And they told the story that they wanted to tell in the time it took them to write it. It's not a failure on your part to not be as fast as someone else, no matter how much you may feel like it is from time to time. And then you get the final phase, the phase of destruction. You're close, but so far away. November 30th is looming. You have so many words left to write. Even though by this point you've written tens of thousands of words, if you've been lucky and been able to stay on pace, those few thousand words between you and that final goal, those few thousand words between you and where you want to be, they seem so far off. They seem like it's going to take forever. Even though you know the pace that you're going to be writing at because, you've been writing at it for so long. You start worrying. The concern comes in. Defeat is evident. Defeat is there. It's on the precipice. You're not going to hit the goal that you set for yourself. 50,000 words in 30 days. That was crazy. Why did you ever decide to do that? But you know what? You've already gotten this far. No matter how far you are between the goal that you set and where you are, you've gotten words done. I've had nanos in the past where I got a grand total of 1,000 words written in 30 days. And that was a huge victory. That was a huge success because in getting those 50,000 words, that would have been great. But given the depression and the anxiety that I was experiencing at the time, I knew I wasn't going to be able to hit that 50,000 words. But I got words written. Words that would have never been written if I hadn't set a goal for myself and forced myself to move forward and work and do what I needed to do what I wanted to do. And that was a victory. Remember, victory isn't merely hitting the arbitrary goal that was set for yourself. Especially if this is your first book, which for a lot of people who do National Novel Writing Month it is. Getting any words written, that's the hard part. That just getting started, giving yourself the confidence to get started. Having the confidence to continue, and even more the confidence to finish, oh, that's even harder. But at least you got started. See, when we talk about resistance and all the forces that work against us to keep ourselves from actually hitting the goals that we have in our creative endeavors, the worst one is our own self-critical judge that looks at the work of others, that compares us to others, that compares us to the goals that we have set for ourselves, no matter how well-intentioned they may be, and tells us, sometimes with stark clarity, look how far you are from achieving the thing that you want to achieve. And yeah, I may be far off from the goal that I've set for myself. I have big, lofty goals. I want to be the next George Lucas. I want to be the next Jim Henson. I want people to love my work all over the world. I want to have TV series and movies. And I've never gotten close to that. Well, I tell a lie. I did have some negotiations once with a movie studio, but they spent some money on movies that they really shouldn't have made, and they went out of business, and so that didn't go anywhere. And maybe my work would have contributed to their bankruptcy. I don't know, but I'm nowhere near the actual goals that I have for myself. I want video games, and I want movies and television. I want very well recorded audiobooks. I want to be able to sit down with people and get comics made. All of those things are so far away from where I actually am. But that doesn't mean that I'm a failure. It means that I still have work to do, because goals should be lofty. While yes, goals should be realistic, if they don't cause us to stretch, if they're not difficult for us to achieve in some way, shape, or form, they're vanity. They're pure vanity. By setting goals that are difficult, by setting goals that push us and make us have to hunker down and work hard, that's how we achieve glory. That's how we actually get better. You see, failure sometimes teaches us more than success does. And sometimes not hitting a goal shows us what we need to work on. Maybe our attention span isn't what it needs to be. Maybe physically we're not where we need to be. Maybe mentally we're not where we need to be. Maybe our understanding of the craft isn't as strong as we thought it was. Whatever it is, we learned something from that. Never let any of these things feel like a setback. They're not setbacks. They're moments to learn. They're opportunities to get better, to grow, to get stronger. So hopefully, by the end of this process, by the end of these 30 days, you will have finished your goal. You will have hit your 50,000 words in 30 days, maybe even finished your book. And then you can celebrate. But even if you don't hit that goal, you should celebrate anyway. Because that is something. You did work. You created words. And however many words those were, you should be happy about it. That's National Novel Writing Month. So this month, I'm going to be doing some different things with the podcast. I've decided to pre-record most of the episodes that I'm going to do. So Monday through Thursday, those episodes are going to be pre-recorded, and they're going to be on various topics that I've been setting up and getting done. That way I can focus really hardcore on writing and not have to stop to get, episodes of the podcast out. But Friday's episodes are going to be special. See, throughout the week, I'm going to be recording snippets from each day about how my NaNoWriMo is going. And that's going to be the Friday episode. It's going to be kind of a audio blog of my experience going through National Novel Writing Month and where I'm at and how things are doing. So it will be accurate up until Thursday night, and then you'll get the episode Friday morning. And that's how we're going to be doing the episodes going forward. Now, I have to say, I would love to include your stories in this as well, so don't forget about the voice message system. That would be wonderful for you guys to be calling in and giving me your updates, because we're doing this together. That way I can put them into the Friday episode. I'm so excited. I hope you are too. So, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have, and you haven't already rated it in whatever app you're listening to me on, please do take a moment to do so. It does help out a lot. If you have any questions, comments, topics, or updates on your Nano project that you would like to share, in the show notes you'll find a link to the voice message system. Keep it short, keep it clean. I would love to hear from you. If you'd rather hit me up on social media, I am C. Dorset on both Twitter and Instagram, and you can find links to everything that I do over at projectshadow.com. If you've got $1 you can pass my way, it really does help out a lot. You'll find a link in the show notes to both my Patreon and the listener support page. The difference between the two is, well, one, if you're on my Patreon, you might occasionally get stuff from me. And two, it makes my life a lot easier knowing that I have some income coming in. I want to say thank you to everybody who's already doing that. It does help out more than you will ever know. If you don't have any money right now or you don't feel like giving, that's all right. But don't forget, if you know somebody that would like anything that I'm doing, from the podcast to the world building over at World Anvil to the books that I write, please share it with them. That helps out immensely too. I'm so excited about this month's work, and I can't wait to share with you everything that's going on. I've got some episodes coming up that I hope you enjoy. I'm really excited about them too. And yeah, let's do this together. I'll be posting updates primarily on my Twitter feed. So if you want to keep up with me in real time and get an idea of how I'm doing, that's the best place to probably find that. And until next time, don't forget, have the fun.